Hello students, today I'm going to talk about how to create a thesis that generalizes the main idea. So you have your timeline, which we've already created in class. So you have the front and back. So what you need to do is, and this document that I'm looking at I've also shared with you, so if you would like to take a look at it after this video, you can. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to look at my timeline, and I want to, step one, identify all the specific things that have led to my success. So these are specific things, individual things. So I'm going to look at my timeline, and I know Mr. Larson's timeline isn't filled out, yours should be, but I'm just going to pull events and activities and things that I've done that has led to my ultimate success. My ultimate success is to be the world's best teacher. So what are the things that I did? So I looked at my timeline and I gathered these things. Okay? So and these are specific things. I studied and lived in London. I went to Sac State and got my bachelor's. And my teaching credential. I paid for college with student loans with no help from my parents. I worked full-time and was a full-time student. I moved from small town. I was the first person in my family to attend a college out of high school. I earned my master's degree. Now remember, some of these things are made up. Okay, I actually did live in London. All these things I actually did do. I'm currently working on my master's degree. These things I made up, though. I earned a doctorate degree. I taught and studied impoverished students in different countries. I wrote education-related novels. I published articles on education. So these are all specific things that I've done to become the best teacher in the world. So now that I've identified all these things, now I want to group them together based on how they relate to each other. Okay, so similar themes. And it's your essay, you get to make up your own themes. So I went ahead and put them in these groups. Okay, I said, okay, studied and lived in London, taught and studied impoverished students, wrote education-related novels, published articles. Well, these all seem things above and beyond becoming a teacher. So I'm going to put those together. Went to CSUS, full-time employed, full-time studied, earned master's degree, earned doctorate. Okay, well I know all these things mean I had to work hard to get there, right? These are extra. These mean I worked hard. Paid for college with student loans, moved from a small town. Well, this means I'm beating the odds, I think. I think because most students' parents pay for college for them, so I had to do student loans with no help from my parents. And I came from a small town. I was the first person in my family to attend a college out of high school. So I grouped these things based on similar themes, similar ideas. Once I've grouped them together, then what I want to do is I want to label my themes. So I want to think to myself, all right, now that I have my themes, okay, and this is what you saw on the previous page, what similar ideas do these three things come up with? And the reason why I did three things is because these are going to be part of your thesis, right? And you want to have a minimum of three, probably no more. I've always been taught 3 is the perfect number, because when you think about a 5-paragraph essay, you think introduction, conclusion, and then you have your 3 body paragraphs. Well, this would end up then being my 3 body paragraphs. If that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Just follow along with me. Only pick 3 things. Only make 3 groups. If there are things that don't fit in, don't use them. That's okay. So now that I have my specific, okay, remember, because this is moving from a specific to a general, right? We're going from a specific idea to a general idea, so a broad idea. Okay, that's what general means. General means something big. Like, well, I'll show you in just a second, actually. So these are specific things that Mr. Larson did. Now I want to generalize these things. So general means I want to group them together and make a big idea. So I group them together. I determine that these things all show that Mr. Larson's commitment. These things, I think, showed that I worked hard. And these things showed that I overcame odds. So now, based on my timeline, because remember I pulled these from my timeline, based on this timeline and grouping the specifics together, I was able to come up with 3 nice ideas that will fit into my thesis statement. So then I go ahead and I create my thesis. James Larson overcame odds, worked hard, and committed himself to becoming the world's best teacher. Now, you've already done this. Yes, I know you've already done this with your last assignment, the biography thesis. But as I was walking around, I noticed a lot of you, your thesis, your 3 ideas were too specific. Okay? You need to make sure that they're broad. Okay, so you can talk about them throughout the entire essay. And what is my biography going to do? It's going to prove how James Larson did all these things. And do I have proof that I overcame odds? Yeah, look, I pulled them right here. They're right here. Where did I pull these from? My timeline. Did I show, will I show that I worked hard? Yeah, right here, specific. Am I going to show I committed myself? Yeah, right here. Okay. So I created these things based on specifics from my timeline. Your task is to do the same thing.